Ideas like the Great Replacement, which is the perfect marriage really between Islamophobic racism, anti-Semitism and white nationalism, because the theory goes that there is a sort of Zionist conspiracy to breed out white people. The white British population has decreased by 600,000, while the minority population has increased by 1.2 million. So yes, lads, we're winning.
So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing today. Why is it that these people want to get rid of white people? We're going to explore this notion. What's wrong with white people? Of course, this is very much part of the woke rhetoric. The woke rhetoric being that you can't just be awake to the social injustice. The social injustice is so bad, we just got to get rid of white people. It's the only way to solve the problem. Future discrimination against white people is acceptable because today white people discriminate against black people, which just is demonstrably false. But anyway, let's take a look at this video again, and I'll break it down.
Ideas like the Great Replacement, which is the perfect marriage really between Islamophobic racism, anti-Semitism and white nationalism, because
Is it really? Is it really the perfect marriage of those three things? Because we're told that we need to take in people. The United States especially is told that they need to take in all these different people that are not white. It's going to be better for the country. It's going to be better for the world once the United States is minority white. We've been told this for like 10 years now, over 10 years now. I think it started back in 2010 when they started talking about this, so almost 15 years. We have been being told this. Not to mention, I was told when I was in grade school many years ago how evil white people were for coming into the Americas and, taking over everything, in the process harming the natives. Let's get back to the video.
the theory goes that there is a sort of Zionist conspiracy to breed out white people. The white British population has decreased by 600,000, while the minority population has increased by 1.2 million. So yes, lads, we're winning.
So yes, lads, we are winning. This is Briefolt's law. Briefolt's law states that you can more easily breed out a population than you can genocide a population. It's so obvious what they're doing, especially when you look at mainstream media, commercials in general. Commercials feature interracial couples almost every single time now. Almost every time you watch a commercial, it's got an interracial couple in it. And what does that interracial couple consist of? A white woman with a man who is not white. And usually it's a black man. And why is that so important? It's because women are the bottleneck for breeding, right? You can have 100,000 men and 100 women, you're done. There's nothing you can do. Those men are going to be fighting each other, killing each other. And that population is going to drop really quickly. Over the course of 50 years, it's going to be much, much smaller because there's just not enough women. We need the women to produce the babies. So if you have women, if you convince them to produce non-white children, white women to produce non-white children, then you effectively eliminate her genes end, her white genes end there. I mean, they don't technically, but that's where it stops and you move on into another race because those children will be born. They might be considered white, but Barack Obama is considered black even though he's half white. And his children are considered black, not to mention the fact that he married a black woman. So that's generally how these things go. Anyway, we're going to move on and explore all the different ways in which white people need to be eliminated. Why this is a good thing, right? This is a very good thing that we get rid of the white people in the world. And before we do that, let me thank you all for stopping by and supporting my channel. Please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We've got a couple of memes we're going to take a look at real quick here, and then we'll move into a bunch more videos on this subject matter. So the first meme is this one right here. It's at a rally of some sort. You see a bunch of white women standing in the foreground here. There are some white men behind them. There is a black woman in the background. But the sign that they brought to the rally or protest is ban white men. A bunch of white women saying ban white men. They have partaken in the Kool-Aid. They have consumed all of the Kool-Aid, and they think they are on the right side of history by saying this. We know this is just not true. I can just sit here and say, look, white people invented everything that's in the world. Now, the bottom of this meme, there's a banner that says, white men in 1919, give women the right to vote. White women in 2019, abolish white men. Yeah. As soon as you start giving women power, they start misusing it because they don't understand the bigger picture. They only stand their fifis. And their fifis change on a dime Fifis change all the time. I know, I'm a very emotional man. I'm one of those poor soy boys who has struggled with his feelings for years. So, banning white men is not the answer. Not to mention, ladies, do you have white fathers? They brought you into this world. So they bring you here so that you can make these statements against them. Now, I'm not saying that your fathers are good people. Maybe that your particular fathers need to be incarcerated, need to be, just no longer a part of civilized society in some way or another. But not all white men are bad. And what makes you think that non-white men are good? What evidence do you have of that? Let's take a look at another meme here. Ademole says, we built Europe. Black people built European civilization. We gave them 400 years of labor, toil, death. We built the American and the European empire. Oh, you did you? Yeah, that's why I think Europe is less black than America is as a percentage of population. Europe was, where modern civilization was born, was developed, grew out of the warring nations that were there. So I don't know where you get this idea from. Blacks were subjugated in Europe for hundreds of years for at least decades after they first started coming. Because they first started coming, the Portuguese went down to Africa and brought the first blacks to Europe as slaves. And at least that's my understanding of history. I'm not a historian. Maybe you got that wrong, but always correct me in the comments if you feel it's necessary. And that was before Columbus went to the New World, discovered the New World. I don't think it was that much before. I don't remember exactly when it happened. I think it was earlier in that same century. So you're looking from 1400 to 2000, 600 years of black people existing in large numbers in Europe. And they were slaves until 1800, 1850? Oh, the labor they put in, the toil, the death. Oh, you're right. White people don't die. White people don't labor or toil. No, they don't. But we can just look at the United States as an example here. Did the black people engage in building parts of the United States? Yes, they did. But largely they were used for agriculture. They were not used to build things so much as they were used just for services and service-based sort of movements in the labor force. Moving on. Mirain says, white people are essentially followers of Satan. I can categorically tell you that is incorrect because I don't believe in Satan at all. They have no morality. I actually have a very strong moral code. They have no empathy. No, I was actually tested. They can actually test for empathy, and I have empathy. I do feel other people's pain. I do feel pain when other people are in pain. They are spiritually empty and lack basic human decency. Can you define basic human decency? Spiritually empty. They developed the most popular religion in the world. So you tell me, what is basic human decency though? I'll just use this video to demonstrate the basic human decency thing here. And I don't know why you would be allowing a ox to urinate on your head and scrubbing your head with its urine while it's doing so. I'm sure that urine is sterile. Urine that comes out of the urethra sterile. But that's not... Having an animal pee on your head is not human decency. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. And the man in the video is black. So I don't think it's... Oh, I don't even want to get into it. You guys can draw your own conclusions from that. That's disgusting. Back to this meme here, though. Literally, all they value is materiality, which is not a thing, and physical pleasures. Really? Materiality and physical pleasures. Yeah. Well, I would say that statistically that's not the case, since we see a higher number of single mothers in the black community than in the white community in the United States. I'm sure that's probably true in Europe as well. That would indicate that the blacks are engaging in physical pleasures irresponsibly. Therefore, that would be something they care about, more so than being responsible, more so than putting off their pleasures until they're in a stable family and financial situation. I don't know. That's just a conclusion I'm drawing from those statistics that we see. And tragically, they take great pride in their evil nature. Can you define the evil nature? I mean, you just give them this like buzzwords here. They are not spiritual. That's evil. Therefore, they take pride in that. I don't see a whole lot of white people going, look how awesome I am. I'm not spiritual. Yeah. There are people who are like, yeah, I'm atheist because they think it's foolish to believe in a God. That's about as much as you get as far as taking pride in any one of the things that have been listed here. That's it. I can't think of anything that's more prideful regarding any one of the things listed out here. And I hear nobody talking about how they're a Satan worshiper. So you tell me. I know there's Satan worshippers out there, but I don't hear anybody talking about it and how great it is. So anyway, we'll get into the videos now.
This goes over through a 15-week semester.
All right. We got to master something in 15 weeks. Let's see what it is.
By the time they get to that 15th week, they have a grasp of what I'm saying. Now, we do this through various means. We do this through writing papers. We also do this through exercises, right? Asking them to evaluate their friendship groups, to talk with their parents about their ideas about this stuff. Because a lot of white people don't talk about their whiteness.
Why would we need to talk about our whiteness? Why would you need to talk about your blackness? Why would anybody need to talk about their race? As Morgan Freeman said, stop talking about it. I'm going to stop referring to you as a white man. You can stop referring to me as a black man, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, if you want racism to go away, stop focusing on race. That's the thing. White people are the ones who are just like, whatever, I don't care. We're being forced to focus on it now because the woke keep focusing on it.
Even the fact that you call them white, they get pissed off about that. Because
We get pissed off about being called white. I've never been pissed off about being called white. I don't care. In fact, I've been hanging out with Hispanic people and they refer to each other as brown people. Nobody really cares. It's not important.
They don't think about it. They just think of themselves as human beings. Everybody else ain't a human being, but they are.
Oh, yeah, that's how we think about it. Everybody else is a human being, but maybe historically that was the case. But I think that was more based on originating from what the white people saw when they traveled out of Europe. They're like, well, everywhere else we go, they don't have civilization. I don't understand. So maybe we're actually human and other people are not. Now, obviously, we know that's wrong. We've done genetic testing, etc.
They believe white equals human, but in fact, white is anti-human.
Oh, white is anti-human. Who's the racist now? Yeah, see, putting some sort of either positive or negative quality on an entire race of people is considered racism. I don't know. I mean, I can't point to any quality that say every black person has this. Every Hispanic person, every Arabic person, every Indian person, every Asian person. No, I can't think of any quality that, I mean, unless it's a superficial quality, like every black person has black hair unless they're an albino, something like that. But that's just a superficial quality. Nobody cares if you have black hair. What's the matter?
Okay. All right.
So when you say that, are you echoing Ibram Kendi's popularity and his efforts?
No, I wouldn't want to be compared to him at all because I think his book is too individualistic.
Okay.
Wow. Well, he doesn't want to be compared to Ibram X. Kendi, one of the most racist people in the world. He must be more racist than Ibram even. Wow, that's pretty bad.
I think that white people are committed to being villains in the aggregate, right? The real sort of
villains in the aggregate. That's what we're committed to. Committed to being villains in the aggregate. So I'm assuming what she means by that is one individual white person is not bad, but overall they move in a way which is villainous to other people who are not white. Because who else would we be villains to? Ourselves? Now, why would we do that? That doesn't make any sense. So very, very myopic and stupid.
issue here, and I've heard people sort of say it, is one, I think that white people viscerally fear. It's not that white people don't know, right, what they have done. They know. They fear that there is no other way to be human but the way in which they are human, which is to, so, like you talk to white people.
Really? We don't know what we've done. There's no other way to be human but the way white people are. Are we talking about ancient history now? Again? So ridiculous. Today we don't have these beliefs. We think that largely, I mean, I'm sure there's some people who do have these beliefs, but largely people think that everybody's human and you have a different way of doing it. So what? In fact, we see this in this country, which is becoming a problem, is letting in different cultures. This is not that your genes make you a problem. It's the culture that you bring with you. That's what the problem is. It's how you treat others. That's what matters. In the aggregate, white people are treating every race with kindness. You're not going to get that from everybody on Earth. So,
and whenever you really want to have a reckoning about it, they say stuff like, it's just human nature. If y'all had all of this power, you would have done the same thing, right? And it's like, no.
And the little servant down in the lower corner here agrees with her that yes, well, white people had all this power, they would have done the same thing. No, we just have to look at the crime statistics to tell you who's the villain, who are the groups misusing their power in the United States. Because you look at the death by crime statistics by population size of each different ethnicity, white people are not the worst offenders by far.
That's what what white humans did. White human beings thought there's a world here and we own it. Prior to them, Black and brown people have been sailing across oceans, interacting with each other for centuries without total subjugation, domination, and colonialism.
You are fake news.
Without total subjugation, domination, and colonialism. White people have been doing that too. They don't do that. They don't totally subjugate, dominate, and colonize. What are you talking about? As I mentioned, let's rewind this here just for a little bit here just so we can see her. See what's going on here. That colonialism that you say you would not engage in, you would not partake in. Well, you're partaking in it now. That jacket you're wearing, I bet it's part polyester, if not all polyester. Polyester, that's a petroleum product, isn't it? Colonization happened largely because we wanted petroleum, or wanted some sort of resource to make your life easier. You're wearing makeup. Is it got petroleum in it? What about your earrings that appear to be plastic, made out of petroleum? Those books, some of the covers on those books have plastic in them. Those cheap-ass bookshelves you have right there, those are wood laminated in plastic made with petroleum. The pegs that those shelves are hanging on, each one of those shelves has a plastic peg, 4 plastic pegs. That globe you have up there, that's not a metal frame on that globe, that's plastic. What about the watch this guy has a watch on? Her little servant down in the corner there has a watch on. But it's got a plastic frame on it. The computers you're using, they've got plastic frames. So you tell me that you wouldn't participate in this. You wouldn't go to other parts of the world to get resources that you want to make your lives easier, while you live here in the United States in the lap of luxury and complain about how evil the white man is, but you don't go back to Africa to live there.
Subjugation, domination, and colonialism. We have seen what a show this iteration of treatment of other human beings means, and that my hope is that we would do it differently, in the moments when we have some power.
You probably would. You probably would do it differently, with worse results. Because, as we know, it wasn't Europeans going to Africa and rounding up Africans. It was Africans rounding up Africans and selling them to Europeans.
We will not do it perfectly, but I do think that all of us can sort of agree that a politics that says like there are superior and inferior human beings just isn't the way to go.
And what political system says that? The democratic system which you're allowed to engage in? Freely vote in? I don't understand how that is a political system that is racist.
And that's the thing that white people don't trust us to do, because they are so corrupt. Their thinking is so morally and spiritually bankrupt about power that they can't they fear viscerally, existentially letting go of power, because they cannot imagine that there's another way to be. It is either that you dominate or you are dominated.
Well, no, it's not that at all. There's plenty of other ways to be. We're witnessing that other way to be right now in this country, where it doesn't matter what race you are, you can hold power. It doesn't matter what race you are, you can hold any position in society that you work towards. But your thought leaders have said, if we get power, we're gonna subjugate you. We're gonna oppress you, whitey.
And isn't it sad that is spiritually who they are, and that they can't imagine a sort of more expansive notion of the world? The thing.
Yeah, well, I know a South African woman who lived through the ending of apartheid, and while that was beginning, she had a black servant who she paid her, housekeeper, whatever. And her daughter would be like, oh, when we get power, guess what? You're going to live on the streets. We're going to take your house. It's like, okay, who's going to be subjugating who then? Who is subjugating who? Yes, going into South Africa, apartheid, it wasn't good to the black people. But the black people were saying they're going to do the same thing when they get power. So, or not even when they get power, but when everybody's equal. We're just going to take power and we're going to kick you all out on the streets.
I want to say to you is we got to take these motherfuckers out. But I know, but we can't say that, right? We can't say, I don't believe in a project of violence.
Yes, you do. You just said, what I want to say is we're going to take you MFers out. I'm not saying that, though. Well, if you want to say it, but you're not saying it, you're saying it, okay? Stupid.
I truly don't, because I think in the end that our souls suffer from that. And I do think that some of this is a spiritual condition. So here is where I land most days about white people. And I actually have been helped in this by thinking about indigenous people, right? See, part of the challenge around whiteness is that it totally skews our view of everything, right? I gave this like TED talk about this some years back, and one of the reasons I was trying to think about it is like the world didn't start when white people arrived in America and tried to tell all the rest of us how things were going to go.
And who claims that? Who claims that the world started when white people came to what is now the United States? I don't understand that line of thinking. I've never said that. I've never heard anybody say that.
There were people out here making worlds, Africans and indigenous people being brilliant, and, libraries and inventions and, vibrant notions of humanity and cross-cultural exchange long before white people showed up being raggedy and violent and terrible and trying to take everything from everybody.
Really? White people were raggedy. That's all they were. And you had libraries and inventions, and white people just came in and took all that away from you. So it's impossible for an inferior force to dominate a superior force unless that superior force allows itself to be dominated. So if white people were inferior to the blacks in Africa, they couldn't come in and dominate you. It was quite clearly the other way around, where you're using stone and wood and bone tools, maybe a little bit of metal, but mostly stone and wood and bone. And white people were using metal guns to dominate you. Not saying it's right, but that's how it happened. And you want to say that the white people were raggedy, but they weren't, though. They clearly had superior tech, superior notions about hygiene, etc. That's how they could come in and dominate you.
And that's really important, because if we believe that history starts for us when white people drag us to these shores, then we can never get outside of the notion that this is going to be our existential struggle. All things that begin end. White folks are not infinite and eternal, right? They ain't gonna go on for infinity and infinity. And that's super important to remember.
So what's your implication there is that black people are going to go on forever and ever? Really? Well, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. If nothing is eternal, then you're not eternal either.
That white colonialism and imperialism has a beginning, and in my way of thinking about the world, that means it has an end. And so part of what we are trying to do is to imagine what are the steps that we must take to get to the other side of this very inconvenient, epochal interruption of like black and indigenous world making. I mean, does that give people comfort on the day to day when you like just having to deal with white folks and the travesties that they create and the sense that they want to destroy the planet? Nah.
White people want to destroy the planet. Wow. I can honestly say that I don't want to destroy the planet. So I don't know what to tell you about that. White people don't want to destroy the planet. I'm a white person. And you're the one who's also engaging in this behavior. As I pointed out, all of the different things that she's using, all of the different material possessions that she has there, that's the reason why we're seeing this global warming phenomenon. It's because we're making a lot of heat to make things. We're making a lot of heat to feed people. We're making a lot of heat to travel. So I don't know. That's what it's happening. I don't know what to tell you.
There is a world beyond even our sojourn on the earth. And so whiteness is going to have an end date, because it is not, despite what white people think of themselves, they do not defy the laws of eternity, right? Their projects.
What are the laws of eternity? I've never heard of those before. Maybe they're really cool. We should learn about those. But, that's just one of the ways that the black people are superior to the white people. They have the laws of eternity. They understand them. I don't think I could probably understand them. It's beyond my comprehension.
Are not so sophisticated that the natural laws of physics change for them. And when we sort of humble them humble our own understandings of whiteness, it seems like the biggest giant that we face. But in the end, right, it is what I like to say is, black folks were out here for centuries and centuries and millennia doing all kinds of wonderful things, and probably some fucked up things too.
Probably some. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're going to get to the sum here pretty soon.
But whiteness is largely an inconvenient interruption. And so we then get to ask.
White people are an inconvenient interruption to their amazing glory that they were spreading throughout the world, even though we have no evidence of black people really leaving that kind of region there in Africa. Maybe they went to Australia. Maybe those Aboriginals in Australia are black from Africa. But I think the black people in Australia actually come from India, I think that's, I don't know. I don't know my anthropology. Correct me if I'm wrong, please, because I want to know, because I don't remember off the top of my head where the Aboriginals from Australia originate from.
Ask ourselves, so why am I here in this moment of it? Like, damn, why did I show up in this particular iteration? And it's like, well, I think we showed up in this iteration precisely so that we could help to figure out an end and a way to the other side of this, gargantuan historical tragedy that is white supremacy.
No, actually, you were born in this time period so that you could suffer from this, the evil white oppression that you have made up in your mind. That's really why you were born into this time period. Sorry, that's just how it works. Ridiculous.
I was in charge of the reparations conversation. All black inventions returned to us permanently. Everything we invented is a permanent patent for Africans. And if you want to use it, you must pay us a percentage. The cell phone,
Okay, I agree with that. Sounds brilliant. But you're going to pay us then for everything that white people invented. And white people invented everything. And he said right here, the cell phone. I think he's going to say, we invented that. Let's see if he says that.
We invented that. Internet, that's our cell phone. We invented that. Internet, that's our.
Okay, cell phone and the internet. Let's take a look. Inventor of the cell phone. Martin Cooper. He looks real black to me. Man, that guy is so melanated. I cannot believe how black he is. Inventor of the internet. Two guys. Cent Surf and Robert Kahn. Let's zoom in on them. They are extraordinarily pale-skinned. Very, 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 very pale black men. Let's see what else black people invented.
Helicopter, that's ours.
The helicopter, that's yours. No. I actually remember watching a documentary like 20 years ago, back when the Discovery Channel actually showed informative programming, and it was a white guy. But we'll check just to make sure. As I recall from that documentary, he was a Frenchman. Let's see here. Inventor of the helicopter. Igor Sikorsky. Damn, he is super black. Look at him. Look how black he is. Oh, well, he's from Russia. I thought it was a Frenchman. I bet it's this Paul Cornu. Yeah, French bicycle maker. Who invented the helicopter? They're saying Igor Sikorsky in 1889, or maybe it's this Paul Cornu guy in 1907. Either way, it doesn't really matter. They're both white. Well, we don't know about Paul. We'll check Paul Cornu here. Let's see. Paul Cornu. Oh, yeah, he's very black, as you can see right there. Well, he has black hair, so maybe that's what they're referring to. I don't know.
Self-lubricating engine, the microphone.
The microphone. That was Alexander Graham Bell. Let's see here. Inventor of the microphone. Inventor of the microphone. Shure Brothers microphone. Inventor of the microphone was Emil Berliner. Inventor of the microphone that became part of the first Bell telephones. Emil Berliner. Let's see. Control C here. Control V some of that too. There you go. Yep, I knew it. Black guy. So obvious.
The stop sign, the walkie-talkie.
The stop sign and the walkie-talkie. Inventor of the stop sign. Eno did it. He is sometimes known as the father of traffic safety, despite never having learned to drive a car himself. Among the inventions credited to Eno are traffic regulations, the stop sign, the pedestrian crosswalk, the traffic circle, and one-way streets, the taxi stand, and pedestrian safety islands. Who is this Eno person? Can we look at him? Maybe we'll just type in Eno here. Eno, yeah. Traffic safety. There he is. Look at him. He was born in New York. What do you know? Black guy. Yep. How did I know? Super pale skinned black guy. All these guys, they're inventing all this stuff. Pale skin. Oh, the walkie-talkie, right? Inventor of the. Oops, that's how you spell the walkie-talkie. Don Hings. There he is, right there. Look at him. Look at how black he is. Very black.
Why are those lights on right now? Because a black man named Lewis Latimer wrote a textbook that taught China, the UK, Canada, and America how to light up a whole city at night. Without Lewis Latimer, you don't get street lights at night. You don't get constant illumination anywhere in the world. So guess what? Anybody running lights, you paying black people. Take back ownership of our music. Take back ownership of our inventions. Next on the list is all the confiscated lands.
Okay, well, we didn't confiscate any of your land in North America. Okay. Now, as far as Lewis Latimer is concerned, I'm not going to look him up. I already know. I have not done a lot of research on Lewis Latimer, but he was an electrician working with Thomas Edison. And he said right here, this guy in the video, he just said that you don't get constant illumination anywhere. Sorry, no, that Edison invented the light bulb. And it's been credited to other people who have invented the light bulb. Edison only, he did this type of filament, blah, blah, okay, whatever. Either way, Edison was white. You get constant illumination from Edison. He didn't specify. You don't get constant illumination across an entire city. He just said constant illumination. Okay, now, as far as Lewis Latimer is concerned and teaching people how to light an entire city, I don't know that he was the one who invented that concept. He did write a book about it. I don't know if that book was his idea even. Maybe he was told, hey, write a book about this. Sure, Mr. Boss, who is a white man, I will do that for you. I know that he was working with other people, and I don't know if he was the one who came up with the idea of how to light up an entire city or not. We don't know. We don't know that. We know that Tesla had really great ideas about light and how to make that work too. So it's not really black people doing that sort of pioneering work. It's the white people. I don't know what to tell you. That's just how it is.
I've seen an alarming amount of videos in the past couple of weeks of also specifically like white, blonde, blue-eyed women all across Europe being like, hey, for the first time, like, I feel genuinely unsafe and I feel like I am a legit target. We have all these immigrants coming in and they're literally proposing classes for them of how not to rape women and being like, it's bad, don't do that. These like left-wing people in, I think France I was watching, are like, just say no. And I'm like, or maybe don't let them into the country because they're literally raping your women and children. What is wrong with these people? Who cares? They don't benefit us. They're not enriching our culture. The ones who do are going to come legally, and they're probably going to have money as well. Like, this is nuts.
Okay, yeah, that's the solution to the problem. Now, the solution that has been proposed by the woke is, well, we need to educate them. We need to teach them. Here's the problem. How do you educate them? How do you teach them? Let me show you. This is terrifying, but we need to see it.
Guys, let's go.
Some of them, they're not screaming. It's like they wanted to be raped, you see. She also grabs you, you see, no more
like
crying.
She's enjoying it, you know,
see.
even though she isn't, but it's like she's enjoying it.
Do you think it's right? Do you think it's right to rape?
Yeah, it's wrong. Yeah, it's wrong.
What about the consequences of what you're doing in terms of how that affects the person that's raped?
Yeah, the consequences, we look at that all the time, you know, because it happens, she might scream, you know, people might wake up. A lot of people, especially.
I'm not just talking about, I'm talking about the emotional effect, the physical effect it has on the girl.
Yeah. Sometimes we know that we might rape her and wake up tomorrow with viruses ourselves, like HIV, you know.
What about regretting what you've done to the girl?
I also do regret about it, because if she fell pregnant, what will be that baby's father? Who will be that baby's father?
But what about her personal feelings?
So there you have it. These people you want to import from, these young men that you want to import from third world countries, because they don't know any better, just because they have been given the short end of the stick in life. No, they just don't know any better, and they're going to hurt you. They're going to harm you. And we see these people in the Western world being violated by these men and not reporting the crime because, they've already suffered enough. These poor people, these poor foreigners have suffered enough. I don't want to make them suffer anymore. Meanwhile, you might have AIDS, HIV, herpes, gonorrhea, syphilis. Be impregnated by a man who does not have morality. Who's not going to even know that he has a child. It's freaking horrifying. Anyway, that's all I got for this time, man. I'm sorry this was so depressing. I hope that this opened your eyes, though, to how devious the woke are and what they're really doing to this world. The lies that are being spread by the woke. Have a good one. I'll see you in the next one.